conference today, or not? Is that on the program? I mean, not here, but are you happy with
I sent one for you to review.
Oh, you did? I didn't see that. So I probably did.
Yeah, I sent the first one.
Yay!
So you can look at it, see how I was doing the graphics and everything, and give some feedback, and then the rest of them would be. Yeah.
You use basically the same.
Probably in the day Monday.
The fonts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Well, it's probably great.
Just a little bit different, like transition of the graphics and things like that, and just placement, like where they come up.
Sure.
I tried not to overdo it, but you know.
Great. We'll see.
I'd like to call on Walt Markham to come up and lead us in our invocation. Walt, come make your way up here. He'll do the invocation, the pledge, and the national anthem.
Solo.
All right, quick update on Cindy Cummings. She's in Presbyterian in Hammond. She had another fall, some of you may know, and had another concussion. I visited her yesterday, just got an update from Max. So she's still in ICU. Was hoping to get out into the regular hospital and rehab yesterday, but hopefully in a couple of days she'll do that. So prayers for her. Let us pray.
Can I mention one other concern? We have another concern. Alan Wynn has been diagnosed with cancer, and it is prostate cancer that is metastasized in his bone. So it's not good news, but we do need to continue to pray for Alan. He has been such a trooper. You know, remember a couple of years ago during the parade, he had a heart attack, and we thought we were losing then. But let's be praying for Alan, not only today, but in the days to come as well. Sorry to interrupt you.
Let us pray. Dear God, we dedicate ourselves wholeheartedly to the Rotary ideal of service above self. Bless our endeavors, both individual and collective, with unwavering dedication and commitment. May we never tire in our pursuit of a better world, and may our efforts leave a lasting legacy of hope and compassion for future generations. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
It is time for Happy Bucks, so that there may be someone here that is happy about something that they want to share. Teresa?
So, y'all may have seen the news that we've been losing a lot of money at the food bank. So that may not necessarily be happy, but I've spent the last 3 days in Austin advocating for some hunger policy. So I'm going to tell you what would make me happy. What would make me happy is that anyone here who is a University Park or Highland Park resident that is in Morgan Myers District, if you would call his office, I met with him personally, call his office and say, I want to support the food bank policy. So there's 3 things. If you want to know exactly what the legislative is, or if you feel, trust me, and just want to say, support food bank policy, you can reach out. But I would love to activate this Rotary Club that is in Myers District and let him know, because he wants to hear from his constituents. He said that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Two things I'm happy about. Happy to be here today. I'm sorry I don't get to come this much, but work is consuming these days. But I'm also very happy that Bonton Farms is here, because last Friday I was there with my work group, and we got a fantastic tour to see how everything was going. I missed being down there. But I would encourage all of you to get your companies to get a group together to go down there. It's a morning event. They give you an incredible background story about that entire community and the food desert that it is, and what's happened since they've started up, and what we've done, our own Rotary Club has done for Bonton. And then they also allow you to do some volunteer work on the farm. So we got our hands dirty and we planted some crops last week. So please bring your groups down there. I highly encourage you.
So many of you know that I'm very heavily involved in scouting as well. And some of you who have experience in scouting know that there's an organization inside of scouting called the Order of the Arrow. It's like the National Honor Society of Scouting with youth and adult members. I am going to have the privilege this weekend of keeping my vigil. I was nominated for a vigil honor, which is very significant. But the cool thing is my son, who is already vigil honor, will be able to go with me and sash me, and that's going to be really cool. So.
That's great. Anyone else that's happy and wants to pay for it? If not, we have introduction of guests. Any guests that you'd like to introduce?
Okay, I have several. They will be introduced in a moment, but we have past district governor Larry Webb, who is the district's grants chair. He's who we work with our district grants and please welcome Larry. And the second guest today is Melissa McWalk. I struggle with her last name all the time. She is the Bonton Wellness Center clinic director. So we welcome her as well.
Thank you, Richard. Stand up, Peter. I would like for you all to meet Peter Solinsky. Peter is the lifestyle director at Legacy Midtown Park, where Stu and I live. Please give her a warm welcome.
I brought 2 people from Hope Cottage with me. Allie Stokes, who's my Director of Development, Perkins grad, got better grades than me, so you should know that she's Miss Smarty Pants. And then Emery, who is also with me at Hope Cottage, who's my Chief of Staff and has a beautiful voice, so I always want him and Lee to sing the national anthem together. We're going to make him join, I think.
We're for that. Are there any other guests? All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Richard. We have our marketplace advertiser, Sean Foster, who will come up and tell us about our advertiser for the day.
Thank you, Nolan. For visitors, I will draw your attention to the back of the hub. That's where people advertise, we do business with one another, and raise money for the club by paying a fee to be in the ad. And part of that is you get highlighted. And today I want to highlight Mark NEACE. He's been a member of the club for over 10 years. He's a Paul Harris Fellow. And he will continue to serve on our board as Director of Public Image and as the District 5810 Public Image Team Leader. I think the district's very, very grateful, very privileged to have him as the team leader. In today's marketplace, every business leader and professional should be building their personal brand with a high-quality video content. So let's watch this video.
I'm Mark NEACE, co-founder and CEO of SyncLab Media, a video marketing and consulting firm in Addison, Texas. We create video marketing strategies and content so that businesses can increase awareness, engagement, and revenue. At SyncLab Media, we work well with growth-minded executives across industries who understand that investment in quality video marketing assets is a smart business strategy in today's highly competitive digital world. Great referral partners are business services executives, digital marketing agencies, PR and advertising firms, and SEO website development companies. As a Scouter and Rotarian, I am committed to building business relationships through trust, fairness, and solutions that benefit all stakeholders. So let's connect and let me know how I can help you.
Now, if you or someone you know needs a personal branding video, take advantage of SyncLab's Personal Branding Monday opportunity through May. You choose your Monday studio time, consult on your script, shoot in studio, and receive your finished video in 48 hours. All for 50% retail, off retail. So again, let's thank Mark NEACE.
Now I'm going to call Mark NEACE. Come on, Mark.
I am filling in for Herb today. He's on vacation, so I volunteered to fill in for him today. But today is the day of the month when we recognize our RCPC Foundation. And in doing so, recognize birthdays for the month. So if you are here today and have a birthday in April, would you please stand so I can wish you happy birthday. Happy birthday. The reason that we do this is we also suggest that you donate to the RCPC Foundation during your birthday month. So this is your friendly reminder that we all commit to support our club foundation as well as the RI Foundation each year. So please consider making a donation. I think Herb will be back next week, or you can give your check today to him. I'm not filling in that way for Herb, okay? So thank you very much and happy birthday to all of our April birthdays.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. It is my privilege today to welcome Matthew Bell up here to be introduced as a new member. He's a new young professional member. And welcome. So excited about you, Matthew. Matthew works for Bain and as a consultant, and he is our newest member. And I'm going to present to you, first of all, a hat that you can wear proudly when you're walking or doing whatever you're doing in the parade coming up this July. But also presenting your badge. This is your red badge, and as soon as you check off all the things you're supposed to check off on your list, you'll get a permanent badge that looks similar to mine. It won't be as nice as mine, but okay. It could in the future. It could in the future. So welcome to our club. I'm excited about you joining. Let's give Matthew a big round of applause for his Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it very much. Karen Farris, let me call on her. She's going to give us an update and a little history as well. And we're excited to hear from her.
You should be excited. You guys did a great job. You know, it was 6 years ago that Darren Babcock came to this club, stood at this podium, and told the Bonton story. If you were there that day, you probably did what most of us did, absolutely fall in love with the idea and with his vision for what he could do in the future. And it was at that time we said, we don't know what this looks like, but we want to do something with it. It fit into a lot of our strategic initiatives with health and wellness. We said we definitely want to do something. And so we decided, well, let's go ahead and well, at the time, they had just opened the cafe. and they have plans for the wellness center. Because for the same reason that Bonton is a food desert, it's a medical desert. And so people who live there have to travel by bus 2 hours to Parkland Hospital, and they don't. They just don't get the care that they needed. And so that bears out in statistics. So he said, that's our next project. So we said, okay, well, we think we can help with that. So we started raising money, and at the end of the day, we raised about $187,000. So give yourself a hand. And let me just talk quickly about where that money came from. It came from our members. It came from a seed grant from our foundation, and it came from several different foundations that our members here are involved with. Where do we see? Scott McLaughlin with Vista Bank is one of them. We have Lynn Searles and his wife with Solomon Foundation, and they were one of them. And then my company, RHSB, was also one of them. In addition to that, we qualified. President Nolan decided, let's use this as our district grant for this year. And so in the district grant, we end up getting matching funds because of all the good work that Greg Tate does. Amen. We qualify for usually one of the largest in the district, which is Larry Webb's area here. And so combine all of that, it came to about $158,000. And so an advisory committee was put together to say, how are we going to spend this money? What makes sense? Originally, we thought we would be outfitting some of the medical rooms there at the clinic, but then through a partnership with Methodist Hospital, that really wasn't necessary. But what they ended up saying, we probably could use a dental suite. And so we said, we know a little bit about that from Agape Clinic and from our dentistry with the Heart Project. So that was one thing. The other thing that Darren wanted, he said, I really want to do something there that talks about the history of Bonton. It's a very rich history. And he said, I want to focus on the community, some of the people, early residents, and where we've come. And so he said, well, what if we did like a tribute, some kind of a tribute wall in the center so that when residents came in there, they would see that and be able to understand that. So those were two of the things. The other things that they wanted us to do is help with communications equipment and then some IT equipment. So that's where the money is going. And so here we are after 6 years. The project took a few turns and twists. It's never easy working with the city to get zoning approved. That was a nightmare. And then you add to all of that COVID. So 6 years later, last week was the grand opening of the Wellness Center. I think we have a few pictures here. We had a great Rotary contingency. And look we actually have patient number 1 in the dental lab. No dentist, but we had the chair and the patient. So anyways, I'm sure that Melissa will tell you more details in her presentation.
Thank you, Past President Karen Farris, and I want to introduce Past President Richard Sanders at this time.
Guess what? It's program committee time. That 6 months just goes so fast. We're pretty much full. We've got a couple of spaces left in this Rotary year, but we're ready to fill up the next Rotary year. And those who do that, it's really fun. Again, we'll be meeting at the Moody Y on Preston, and we'll have pizza and Cokes and that sort of thing. It'll be the 29th of April, which is a Tuesday, from 6:30 to 8. And Happy can get out an announcement about that, but just kind of mark it down now because it is so much fun. That is the power. Everybody in this club is a member of the program committee, and so as that's where we get all our variety, and the fun part is the variety we get. And we'll be going after the usual kind of Bigfoot suspects that we go after every year and never can quite catch. And I won't mention names, but it's a very interesting organizations. But it's a lot of fun, and we'll be ready for as many of this club who can show up that night. You'll just need to register, so we know how much food they have. Okay.
Thank you. Now, Richard, we need to make sure we have enough pizza because everybody here is going to come. Isn't that right? Everybody here is going to be there. All right, good deal. Thank you so much. All right, here's something I want to just make you aware of. The District 5810 Club Leadership Academy will be held tomorrow, Saturday, the 5th of April, And if you're interested in attending that, then please make every effort to be there. I think we've sent out several emails to give more information about that. Now, let me mention this to you. Good Friday is coming up on April the 18th, so on that Friday, if you come here, you'll be by yourself. So I hope that you will not, be a solo person in this room on the 18th of April. Good Friday, we take off. Now the raffle drawing. Van Oliver is coming up with all the goodies that are necessary for that. Well, the total is $1,821, and that's a lot of money. So what the process is here, we're going to ask our guest speaker to pick out a raffle ticket, and that raffle ticket will be will indicate the winner of this raffle, this version of the raffle. Now, come on and bring that up here, and then I'm going to call on the winner to come up and see if they can select the ace of spades out of this, what's remaining of this deck of cards. So here is the number. The last four of this ticket, the winning ticket, are 2496. 2496. Richard. You are a little suspect, but not that much. We'll go with that. Okay. Here we go, Richard. The 7 of clubs. He gets to keep that to remember his loss. Anyway, thank you so much for your participation, and thank you for giving. This money goes toward providing some extra funds for guests that come in that we need to provide lunch for, and some other purposes that the club focuses on. Now, the chair of the day, past President Karen Farris, is going to come and introduce our speaker.
Thank you, President Nolan. You know, it is truly an honor for me today to be able to introduce Gabe Madison, who's the president and the CEO of Bonton Farms. No question, it might have been Darren's vision, but it's Gabe's leadership team that has been responsible for the execution. And I think you're going to be so excited when you hear about that. Prior to her current role, she served as chairman of the board. And I'm not going to steal her thunder in talking about how she decided to make the decision to leave Thomson Reuters, where she had a wonderful corporate career, and to become full-time at Bonton Farms. I'm not going to steal your thunder, but there's just something about voices in the night that you got to be careful about. She's a graduate of Baylor University, and she's a passionate advocate for the North Texas nonprofit community. She's married to her husband Sterling and mommy to Alma and King. Dallas CEO magazine named her one of the most powerful business leaders in the city, and I think you'll see why. So please join me in welcoming Gabe Madison.
Okay, so I talked to Mark, the sound guy and the all-around guy, before to make sure that I'm going to do this right. I'm a walker, y'all, so just keep up with me. I'm not a pastor, but I am a walker. So thank you all so much. I had the real great pleasure a couple months into the role of getting to sit down with Karen and Fred, and what I did not recognize was how much of the history they held. And they were educating me more than they knew, and have been ever since. And I just really want to say a special thanks to you both. You have been outstanding to be partnered with. I know, please give me a round of applause. Y'all are, y'all are like family to me, so you're in my circle now, so you can't leave me. They've been just extremely supportive, and I can't thank them enough. I also have to give a big thanks to you all, Park City Rotary Club. Y'all are just an amazing group of people. The first thing I want to say to you in regards to Bonton Farms is you mimic the community aspect that we have in Bonton. It is so important for people to be in community with each other. I love how y'all pray for each other. I love how you all bring your whole self to this. And that's so important, especially in this day and time. And that's a lot of the reason why I went to Bonton. So a little bit about me. As Karen said, I was a corporate girl. I call it being corporatized. For 22 years. I see Tricia in the back, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. I had my own plans. God has another one. He laughs at ours. And I know he was laughing for the 22 years I thought I was going to stay in corporate the whole time. I got involved with Bonton in 2017, and that was through Cafe Momentum with Chad Hauser, and a lot of y'all know Cafe Momentum. I kept seeing on the walls at Cafe Momentum, Bonton Farms, Bonton Farms. I'm like, Chad, what is this Bonton Farms? He was like, you know what, I'm going to take you over there. I go meet Darren, and any of you met Darren, you know, it's over with. Like, you're in it, you're crying right along with him. It's just the whole thing. And in 2017, when I met him, he was telling me about some of this vision, about a lot of the things that we have today that was not existing when I went in 2017. When I went, it was only a farm and 2 houses that some ladies were living in. But he was telling me on this dream about there's going to be a restaurant, and we're going to have these houses, and we're going to address health insecurity and food insecurity at the same time. And I'm like, either this man is crazy or he's on to something. And I kind of like to stick around and see if the crazy is going to happen. So that's what I did. And what I was really amazed about with the vision that he had was that this vision didn't just highlight the inequities, it highlighted the promise and the hope that this community felt like they needed. And it wasn't Darren really dictating that. He was listening to what the community was telling him and saying, this is possible, and helping them to understand that this is possible. Fast forward a couple of years, every year, by the way, Darren would say, hey, Gabe, don't you think it's time for you to come and join Bonton Farms? And I was like, no, Darren, no. It's, you don't have a lot of structure over there. I'm used to a very structured environment. My team knows my word is structure, and I just saw that startup environment is something that I did not want to be a part of. And I wanted to be in this side kind of passageway of help. And he kept saying to me, I think you're supposed to be over here. Well, we get involved on the Bonton Farms bill. Thomson Reuters does. If you don't know about Thomson Reuters, it's the organization that created Westlaw. It's also Reuters. So it's a lot of different pieces to it, and we knew that we could help. And this was the second time that bill had been brought to the state legislature, and we really wanted to help make sure it became a law, and so that's what we did. We got a lot of work behind it to make that happen. And so at the end, and we're trying to push this through, Darren said, you know what? I know what we can do. You can be a board member. I was like, see, that's the happy medium. That's what we needed. That's all. That's where, God was leading you, is for me to be a board member. And in his mind, he was like, that's just the hook. So, a little bit later, I had read this book. Has anybody read any books by David Platt? Don't. This is what got Darren and I down in Bonton. Darren read the book called Radical, and I read Counterculture. When I read it, I called him and I said, oh my goodness, I'm struggling right now because I feel like God's telling me to come. I'm not ready to come. I listed out, my 42 reasons why not. And he's like, well, what happened? And I said, I read this book, by David Platt. He goes, wait, how do you think I got here? I read the book Radical. I was like, oh my goodness. He's like, you're coming now. I can tell you, like, this is going to happen for you now. And about a year later, that's what happened. I definitely knew what was being called of me, and that was for me to not generate my own plan and to really succumb to God's plan. And obedience is better than sacrifice, right? So I knew that. Both Darren and I really had similar stories. He was living in Frisco, I live in Frisco. Yes, I travel to Bonton every day, y'all, and live in Frisco. He lost his spouse, I lost my spouse. And we both had a crazy passion around communities. And so he saw that in me, and I think that's what God was showing him. And finally, I succumbed. A lot of times you hear these founder stories with the successors, and it doesn't work out. Well, the only reason I decided that this was going to work because I knew my wagon was hitched to his. So a lot of you may not know, but Darren now works for another foundation where he's having the vision of Bonton to be true. And our vision is for the change in Bonton to become the change in the world. And at this juncture, he is in 5 other cities helping to make the things that we have been doing in Bonton to be in those other cities. And that's what really we're trying to work towards at this moment, is how do we build frameworks that can be replicated in other cities across the country, and how do we help other cities to get there faster and not have a lot of the hiccups that we had, help them circumvent a lot of these barriers so that we can, I call it solutionize, so we can solutionize a lot better in communities. So if we'll go to the next slide, I don't think, oh, the clip is here.
Yes.
Good. Well, our mission is really to transform lives by disrupting systems of inequity, laying a foundation where change yields wholeness, opportunity, and help as a norm. The emphasis on norm is kind of also a little tagline behind that, the norm for everybody. We want it to be for everybody. Because I was born in a zip code 75215 or 75216 shouldn't mean that I have these outcomes that are different from 75210 or 75201. This should not mean that I don't have the opportunities to grow and develop and my health is challenged like from the get-go. It shouldn't mean that. But it has for decades. And so that's what we're trying to change. We're redefining a community in ways that we know are needed, but in ways that, like I said before, can be replicated. So our real strategy around this is by building, a healthier structure of a community. We believe that the people here, and because they know really what they need, this will build structures for more productive lives. And as that happens, a lot of the macro statistics will begin to be trends more in that positive direction. For all the analysts in the room, we want the trajectory to go up. And we want that to continue to happen for generations. And if that can happen in Bonton, it can happen anywhere. So Karen said, I came in really to execute on the vision that Darren had, and that's so true. Another book, has anybody ever read Rocket Fuel?
Yes.
Yeah, love Rocket Fuel. That's when I recognized who Darren was and who I was. Darren's a visionary, and we need a lot of visionaries, and I know a lot of you are visionaries. I'm an integrator. I'm a person that gets it done. That's my job, to get it done. And as we look at these next 10 years of where Bonton Farms is going and what we're trying to do, it's really, hold your seats, it's really to work ourselves out of a job. I'm trying to push this through in the next 10 years, so by 2035, Bonton Farms exits the community because no thriving community has a nonprofit driving it. And what we are trying to create is a thriving community where the community members are the drivers, they're the sustainers, and not a nonprofit. A lot to do in that time frame, as you can imagine, so we need everybody's help to come along and do this. And I thank the lady from Marshall Plain. I know that's where you're coming from last week. Appreciate that plug, but she's right. It's going to take all of us in this room and in many rooms to make that possible. But just know that you're not making it possible just for the community of Bonton. You're making it possible for communities all across this country. So we focus in on the 7 human essentials. You probably know them as the social determinants of health. For us, we have to have an acronym because this girl here cannot remember that without the acronym. So we use TEACHES. That's what you see on the screen. TEACHES stands for transportation, education, access to financial well-being, community, health and wellness, economic mobility, and safe and affordable housing. Now, for many people in the room that may have thought we're just doing farm work and in food insecurity, I'm dispelling that myth right now. We're doing all that. We're more than a farm. We're all about how do we create holistic opportunities for people to have thriving lives, not just survive, but thrive. So I want to just highlight, I want to leave some time for you all to ask me any questions, but I want to focus in on the H part of TEACHES, which is what you all have vastly helped us support, and that's the health and wellness. And I have to give a huge shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie Bourne, she was part of that visionary team too. She knew more about what was needed because she was walking right alongside a lot of the community members in Bonton. She helped to engineer a lot of the frameworks that are inside of the Wellness Center, the Bonton Wellness Center. And Stephanie, we can't thank you enough. We appreciate you so, so much. It's been amazing to see what you thought about and what Darren thought about, and on Saturday for that to open up and have that opportunity to serve the community. Thank you so, so much. We appreciate it. So what's inside of this great place? Well, primary care, for sure. Primary care is being provided by Methodist Health Systems. They have a group called the Methodist Community Collaborative. Not say that too quickly because I would stumble. But that group is what's helping to make sure that the babies up to the seniors are going to be seen. And I have to tell this quick story. We were in this hunt to find a doctor. Methodist was like, Gabe, I think you just need to settle with a nurse practitioner. Many people do it. It's a common thing now. And I was like, let me tell you something. This community doesn't even know what a nurse practitioner is, so we got to scratch that. And this community is too sick to just go with a nurse practitioner. We have to have a doctor. Now, a doctor and a nurse practitioner I'm on board with, but we can't go without a doctor. So, as God would have it, we're in the search and we're trying to figure this out, and a lady comes to a visit with a group from Wichita, Kansas. Now, she happens to live here, but she's standing in the gap for her sister who's in Wichita and could make it. Well, Darren is taking this group around, and he's telling them about the Wellness Center and how we need a doctor and what we're needing, and she pulls him to the side and she said, hey, I really don't know what all you're looking for and what that looks like, but I just finished my residency, and I did my residency with a farm-adjacent opportunity where I'm focused on food as medicine. So immediately he called me, Gabe, I found our doctor. So Dr. Dora Johnson is our new doctor at the Bonton Wellness Center. And the other bonus, on top of her loving food as medicine, is that she also speaks Spanish. And our community is now over 50% Hispanic. So this was truly a blessing in disguise. And we are super, super excited about her. We're already thinking about her nickname. Dr. DJ is what we're thinking. So we'll have that in there. We'll have a lot of the programming, from nutrition classes to exercise classes, and so much more. A lot of that's going to be provided by Baylor Scott & White. We were very fortunate to have this amazing grant that Stephanie was a part of, to be with Baylor Scott & White in this research grant that came with a lot of great preventative health options, those being some classes. And so they will drive a lot of the programming. But Melissa, who's on our team that you heard about earlier, she's my rock star. She's my diamond in the rough. She's my right hand, and she has an amazing background that's bringing holistic care. So there's going to be so much more in regards to programming and exposure to the community that the community's never had any access to. She's trying to get some of us to do it. And we're like, well, Melissa, acupuncture is never something I quite subscribe to. But she's teaching us, she's trying. And then we're going to also have the pharmacy concept. So I was at a luncheon a couple weeks ago, and it was a doctor speaking, and she said, you know, you think about our journey about going to a doctor. You go to the doctor, then most likely you gotta go somewhere else to get your blood drawn. Then most likely you gotta go somewhere else to pick up your prescription. And then in some cases you gotta come back to the doctor for them to look and review all of that. And I went up and spoke to her and I said, you know what? We're circumventing all of that, going back and forth at our new clinic. And she said, and you know what you've just done? You've just created something revolutionary that puts the community at the front concept of innovation in medicine through this wellness center. So I need you all to understand what all you're supporting. This is a first of its kind. They won't have to go anywhere to go get their blood drawn except right there. They won't have to go anywhere to see their doctor but right there. They don't have to go anywhere to get their medications but right there. This is huge for this community, who's already transportation challenged, who's also resource challenged. So circumventing a lot of these opportunities to cause them to not want to participate is what we're doing in this. Then some of you may have been here last time we talked about it, or maybe even seen it on the news. We're creating a pharmacy. I know, I love to put on words. It's awesome. So it's the whole concept of food being medicine from our farm to the community to reduce these chronic illnesses like diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer, because it's pervasive in the community. We're going to do it not through synthetic medication, but we're going to do it through food. Another thing about Melissa is she has Louisiana background and a lot of great knowledge and roots from generations before, but she is really keen on how do we provide all types of solutions through teas and oils that we're getting straight from our farm, the creation of it. And that is something that the community is being a lot more accepted to than the synthetic medication. So we want to help and satiate the hunger aspects of the community by having this pharmacy. We'll also have food prescriptions. So think about a food RX. This is what they're going to have, and then work with a cohort of people that they walk alongside with, because you've got to have other people on this journey with you, and they'll be in cohorts together to help track their changes, help talk about, you know, Gabe was over here trying to feed me collard greens that weren't cooked. And she was saying that this is healthier than the cooked collard greens. And them experiencing and talking about this, and them seeing that collard greens raw are spicy and they're flavorful. And I didn't know that part. So these are the things we want to make sure that they're in connection and in community with through these cohort experiences with the food prescription. And then, as you saw in the pictures before, we're going to have a demo suite. So, again, Melissa, she had us canvassing out in the community a few weeks ago. And so one of the things that we were talking to the community about is a lot of community members were sitting outside or sitting on the sidewalk. And I said, we're going to have a dental option for you to come to and be able to see a dentist. And this man says to me, are you sure? I was like, yes, I'm sure. He's like, well, can you look in my mouth right quick? I have this issue. I was like, well, I'm not your dentist, but you can come down to the wellness center pretty soon and be able to have that looked at. And he said, what made y'all think about that? I said, because the issues that you start to have in your mouth become the issues of your heart. And in order for us to really address that, we got to address all of it. And he said, I never heard of that. I never knew what's happening in my mouth was going to be an issue for me in other parts of my body. And it was that education that his friend heard him say, and his friends were like, man, this is a different kind of wellness center. I didn't know it was going to have all of this. And so that opportunity for us to really address the health, the overall health and wellness of the community is what we've always wanted to happen. And this is what this wellness center means. I also have to say about the other aspects that we're working on inside of the wellness center from the WALT perspective to show the history. We've been really, really centered on how do we make sure that we tell the history of Bonton in a way that dignifies the community, in a way that educates populations outside of the community, and then recognizes a lot of the struggle to showcase where the progress is being made. And I just really want to say that journey has been a journey that our whole team has learned from. It's been a journey that we're still learning from as we start to grow our tentacles and try to reach people from historical perspectives that grew up in Bonton. It's been amazing to hear the stories. Even though a lot of the stories have been horrific, and hearing kids that were on the rooftops for a day, sitting on the rooftop for a day because the water was receding in, hearing a 92-year-old woman describe what it was like to have the bombs go off when she was a little girl. It's been overwhelming. We've cried a lot. We've asked a lot of questions, but we're getting so close to this wall being constructed for the historical perspective. And I have you all to thank, and I especially have Fred and Karen to thank, because they helped us to think about this in a way that was dignified, that really showcased the beauty of the community. And we are super excited about that. The community's super excited about that. It's even gotten so much attention that we're drawing people that have not been back to Bonton since they left in the 50s and the 60s. They want to come back and see what's happened. So thank you all again for that. That has been wonderful. And then the last thing is the grand opening. I'm still in my feelings, y'all. I'm still overwhelmed about last Saturday because it was such a historical day. A day that meant for the community that this was for me, that you designed this for me. Melissa and I, when it was being erected, we would see the community members driving by or walking by, really, and saying, Ms. Gabe, what is that going to be? And we're like, it's going to be a health and wellness center for y'all. Ms. Gabe, that's too nice. I said, what do you mean it's too nice? You didn't have to make it that nice. And it's like, we did have to make it that nice. You deserve for it to be this nice. You deserve more than this. But they really were super excited to know that this was engineered with them in mind, that we wanted the best for them. And then the structure was one thing, but to hear all the things that were happening, the other piece we haven't really highlighted is we're bringing 9 banks into this place. 9 banks. And why do we have to bring 9 banks? Because we have triple the amount of predatory lenders in the community. And in order for us to fight them, we're going to have some strong institutions that can be there for the community. And so the community is like, wow, you really thought about all of this. You really had us in mind. And after 4.5 years, we had to do something that was going to knock their socks off. So we are very excited about what this meant to have the grand opening, what it's going to mean. But more importantly, we're very excited about the impact and the change that this is going to have to a community that for almost 100 years has not had these opportunities, that has suffered and has been damaged just because of the construct. So we are super happy, thrilled, excited, elated, all the feelings that this has happened, and we can't thank you all enough for listening to our founder, Darren, 6 years ago, tell a story that probably had y'all in tears, that showing what we could do, and 6 years later showing what we did do. And then, hopefully in 4 or 5 years, what you'll have me coming back to showcase is the change in Bonton is now the change in the world. So, thank y'all so much for listening.
Can you mention the financial opportunities that are going to be like with banking and the shortcomings in the past and how that's being addressed?
Yes, definitely. So it's amazing that when you think about predatory lending, you probably don't think that there is an ability to prey on people like there is, but on average, the interest rates that the community members are suffering from are around 380%. You all know that there's no regulation on predatory lending in the state of Texas. None. We also have seen interest rates as high as 700% on community members. We actually just got a report back last week that the average is now showing an increase closer to 600%. 600%. This is asinine. And what the amazing ability we've had to do with the banking partners was initially we said, hey, we're going to have these 7 listening sessions with the community, and they're all on different topics. What we're asking you to do is not come in with your regular products and services. We're asking you to think about what you hear, and let's engineer solutions based upon that. And that's exactly what they did. So we have a 2-for-1 savings match that after a cohort finishes a 13-week financial wellness program, if they save up to $750, we'll match them with $1,500. They also now have access to a 5% emergency microloan. And that 5% emergency microloan is up to $250. If you do well with that and you pay that off and you have another crazy need, you can get up to $1,000 of an emergency microloan. We're also piloting 3 different other parts to this financial wellness program. One is about home ownership. Another one is about generational wealth. So we're trying to teach the young how to save and how to manage money better, along with their parents or who else, the guardians in their house. And then we're also looking at a way for us to really focus in on the will and estate planning. And my new friend over here is going to help us with it. She just didn't know that yet, but she is. But we need more work on that because people are losing their homes because they don't have a will and no estate planning. And we have people that are not aware what that type of ownership that has been kind of written in hand from your grandmother really means for you and how you need to get that solidified in real court documents. So we're working on those 3 things this year.
Gabe, appreciate all you're doing. And of course, when we first learned about this, what broke my heart was just the fact that so many young individuals there were, incarcerated. So numbers like your 600%, just stupid, silly numbers. Do you have any metrics? I know we're early in the game, but the effect of what we're trying to do in the community that's helping stop some of that, because opportunities still exist, and now we're making changes.
Yeah. The greatest thing is out of our program, any graduates out of our program, none have recidivized. meaning nobody's went back to prison the whole time in this 10-year platform, which has been amazing. The other thing, guys, is that crime has significantly reduced in Bonton. So the last murder in Bonton, where there used to be a murder in Bonton every 2 to 3 months, the last murder hasn't happened in almost 3 years, which is amazing. Crime rates have went down by 30 to 40%, and a lot of that is to do with helping people to be more connected, but also helping people to have opportunity. And my next fight, Karen asked me, so what's next? There's always something next, Karen. My next fight is, we have Dallas Housing Authority. They have a lot of land still in Bonton where there was Rhodes Terrace. It was another former project. And where they built up the other project, Buckeye Commons, which if you all have been down to Bonton, you've seen this housing area outside of the restaurant, and that's Buckeye Commons, that's Dallas Housing. Well, they have another property, and it was just shy of about 300 units that they're looking to build. My problem with that is you're not bringing any other resources. You're going to create the scarcity mindset again, and we've got to build the resources for the people. You can't bring, under 300 units, just by the way, that means about 1,000 people, close to 1,200 people really, that are gonna move into the community. And we've got to really figure out, how do we bring resources? This is not okay. And resources, what I mean by that, grocery stores. We need, just what we all spend our money on. The community needs that, and they have to always go out of the community to get it. We need a way for them to have it in the community. And right now, they have us, and JBCs, and Big Daddies. If you know anything about JBCs and Big Daddies, it's a liquor store turned convenience store, which means that it's not anything that you really want the consumption of. So these are the things that we're now fighting. Yes.
So in honor of my friend Richard, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, as a group, we went down and had our meeting at Bonton, and it was a memorable occasion. A lot of new people in the room probably haven't been down there to see it. So I'm going to probably miss your meeting, but I'm going to suggest we do that again. We have a meeting at Bonton.
We may could do that in June.
Thank you. That would be great. We would love to have y'all.
Gabrielle, thank you so much for your service to the community. You can't thrive unless you have housing. And we have a problem with housing affordability, and I've spoken before the City Council about this issue. But I want to point out, we need to lobby greater through the Dallas Finance Corporation. They build apartments, they give out money to builders to build housing need, but there's this great push. Somehow the builders just want to build apartments in Uptown or in High. What can we do to advocate before the Dallas Finance Corporation to make sure that you can be part of, Bonton can be part of the solution, and you can get money for affordable housing?
Well, I need you to help me out really, really quick, because we're there. So many of you may have seen that we broke ground in December on a 36-unit apartment building. The problem is that we are still in need of funding because, again, it was another project that took way too long for the city to pass through the zoning, but really the attorney's office. And so as a result, we lost funding from a large donor. And so we need about, I'm just going to put this number out here for y'all to pray on and help us with. We need about $900,000 to finish out the project. We can build one set of the apartments, but we can't build the second set. So we need you all's help, your lobbying, your whatever that can look like. Please let us know how you can help us with it. But the apartments that we're trying to build are multi-income, multi-family, but they are in a way for us to build community, but not with the HUD regulations that are in place. And that's the only multifamily that is existing in the community right now.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Gabe. Let's give Gabe a big round of applause for being with us today. Now, a book is going to be placed in your name and your honor at the Jack Lowe Senior Elementary Rotary School, where we're trying to help students with their reading and literacy. And so I think that's wonderful. But you didn't get a big paycheck, but you got that whole thing. That's great. You bet. Thank you so much, Gabe. Next week, Patrick Genevine will be our speaker, talking about chasing the red dragon. Now, I'm going to be interested in hearing what that's about. And President Richard Stanford's going to be our chair of the day. I want to call on Fred Brown to come and lead us in the four-way test. Fred?
Would you please stand and join me in saying the four-way test? Of the things we think, say, or do,
First, is it truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
We're dismissed.